welcome back to Kitten Reads as we continue with Pollyanna, Chapter 10, Introducing Jimmy. August brought some new things into Pollyanna's life. First, she found a kitten on the street, looked all around the neighborhood for the family it belonged to, and finally brought it home to Miss Polly. "I'm really glad I didn't find its owner," she explained, "because I just love kittens." Miss Polly hated cats even when they were clean and healthy, which this one clearly wasn't. "Ugh," she said, "what a filthy little beast, and I'm sure that it's sick and has fleas." "I know, poor little thing," replied Pollyanna, "but I told everybody talked to that I knew you would take it in. After all, you took me in when I was all alone and feeling sad." Miss Polly always felt helpless when she had to argue with Pollyanna. She sank back into her chair and threw up her hands. The same thing happened the following week when her niece brought home a dog. Thus the Harrington residence became home to two animals, Fluffy and Buffy. When Pollyanna presented a ragged little boy, however, Miss Polly quickly took control of the situation. Pollyanna had found the boy sitting in the grass playing with his stick alongside of the road. Pollyanna was very glad to see someone about her own age. "Hello," she said. "Hello yourself," he answered without raising his head. "Well, you sure look like you could use some calf's foot jelly." "Huh?" He looked up. "Oh, never mind that. My name's Pollyanna Whittier. What's yours?" "Jimmy Bean." "Where do you live, Jimmy?" "Nowhere." "Nowhere? You can't mean that. Everybody lives somewhere." "Well, I don't. I'm looking for a new place." "Where did you live before?" "You sure ask a lot of questions." "I couldn't find out anything if I didn't," she replied with a shrug. Jimmy laughed half-heartedly. "Well, here it goes. I'm 10 years old, almost 11. I came to this town last year to live in the orphan house. But there's so many kids there, they hardly have room for me. And they didn't want me much anyway. So I'm hunting for a new place. A regular home with a mother instead of a director. I have no folks since Dad died. I already tried 4 houses. I even said I'd work, but none of them wanted me." He glared at Pollyanna. "Is that all you wanted to know?" "Oh, what a shame. I just know exactly how you feel. Nobody except the ladies aid wanted me either after my father died. I was all alone and very unhappy, but then Aunt Polly..." Suddenly a wonderful thought came into Pollyanna's. "I know just the place for you, Jimmy. I know my Aunt Polly will take you into her house. She took Fluffy and Buffy when they had nobody to love them, and they're just cats and dogs." Jimmy's face brightened. "Do you really think she'd take me?" I can work hard," he said, showing Pollyanna his arm muscles. "Of course, her house has heaps of rooms. Maybe you'll have to sleep in the attic at the first, like I did. But it has screens now, so you can open the windows and the flies won't come with their germs. And maybe Aunt Polly will let you read about them if you're good. I mean, if you're bad. We've got freckles too, so you'll be glad there's no mirror in the room." "How can you talk so fast?" Jimmy interrupted. Pollyanna burst out laughing. She told him to follow her home. Then Pollyanna ran to the room where her aunt sat reading. "Oh, Aunt Polly, I've got a nice surprise for you. He's so much nicer than Fluffy and Buffy. He's a real-life boy for you to bring up. He can work too, but I reckon I'll need him most of the time to play with." Miss Polly's face turned white. She looked as though she might faint. Finally, she stammered, "Pollyanna, what does this mean? Who is this dirty little boy? Where did you find them?" "Oh, I forgot to tell you his name. This is Jimmy Bean, and I knew he's dirty, but Fluffy and Buffy were dirty too before I cleaned them up. I reckon he'll be fine as soon as he gets washed." "But what is he doing here?" "Why, I just told you," said Pollyanna. "He's here to live with us. He wants a home and a family. I told him how good you are to me and Fluffy and Buffy. And I said you'd be good to him too." Miss Polly was beside herself. "Pollyanna, it's bad enough you bring Oh, dirty animals from the street. Now you've got a beggar. Jimmy walked forward. I'm no beggar, man. I was thinking I'd work for you, and I wouldn't even be here except this little girl you'd be glad to take me in. So there. He turned and ran from the room, and as fast as his bony little legs could carry him. Why, Aunt Polly, I thought you'd be glad to have Jimmy. Glad? Spat Miss Polly. Will you please stop using that word? Miss Polly clapped her hand over her mouth and reached outside to Jimmy. I'm so sorry, she said. It isn't your fault, he answered. I'll find a place. Maybe I can still help you, Pollyanna said. How? I'll talk to the ladies' aid. Father always wanted them to teach the heathen or get a new carpet. Well, I'm no heathen or a carpet, said Jimmy. But what's a ladies' aid anyway? It's just a bunch of ladies that meet and sew and give suppers and raise money, and I know one of them would give you a home. You really think so? Be sure to tell them I can work, said the boy hopefully. I will. They meet this afternoon. There was complete silence when Pollyanna entered the room. Finally, Mrs. Ford, the minister's wife, asked, Did your aunt send you here? Pollyanna blushed. No, but I've known lots of ladies' aiders. They helped Father raise me. Well, what can we do for you? Mrs. Ford asked impatiently. Well, I came to talk to you about Jimmy Bean. He's only 10, and he wants a home and a family. He lives in the orphan house, but he wants a mother, and I thought one of you might let him live with you. Pollyanna stopped for a breath. Well, did you ever? One of the women started. Then the ladies began chattering amongst themselves. The problem seemed that the ladies' aid got credit in a certain report if they sent money to help children in India and other foreign countries where church had missions, but there was no money and no credit to help little boys write in their own neighborhood. Pollyanna couldn't find anything to be glad about in this situation, and how would she tell Jimmy? Okay, that's the end of that chapter. I will see you later.